battle was over. That was peak. That was so fucking cool. The thick fog dissipated and the shattered ice melted away before it hit the ground. A lethal bullet unseated the Night King from his throne, affording him no time to grieve his loss. Oil of the moon, the untouched flat snark, the dreamscape that had begun with its resurrection ended with its demise, drawing a close to the nightmare. There's the last balloon. I don't really think you did. Flat on her back, Aoko looked up at the night sky. She lay there perfectly still, not able to move a single finger. She tried, her whole body screamed out in agony. She was completely empty of magical energy, and her magnetic crest had come to a halt. She estimated that it would likely require a whole day to recover all her bodily functions. Sadly, all she could really do in that moment was take a breath. At least her chest was swelling with pride. She had gone toe to toe with a fairy tale monster and had emerged victorious. The battlefield conditions had favored her, it was true. There was no denying that Aoko had come a long way in the last 6 months. Yeah, you just took away one of her familiars. It's... yeah. Flat Snark would never again return to this world. It was an insanely rare item, so valuable that it would have been impossible to price it for auction at the Association in London. Aoko had sent Alice's priceless treasure to oblivion. Needless to say, things had gotten more than a little out of hand. They had both agreed to this fight, so Alice probably would not complain. Even if she was furious, she would never be so undignified as to show it. The second Aoko relaxed, her fatigue finally caught up with her. She did everything in her power to fight off the overwhelming drowsiness. Aside from a few minor internal injuries, her body was miraculously unscathed. She felt like she could probably stand up and dust herself off after a bit of rest. And the golden moon continued to burn in the night sky. Aoko's bleary eyes went wide in astonishment. She was still unable to lift a finger. You're kidding me. There's another Deus Ex? Bullshit. 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 She sighed in resignation. Aoko accepted that her final stand left her with only 10 seconds before she burned to ash, too. What the fuck is this? Elsewhere, just a short moment prior, buffeted by strong winds atop the roller coaster, Soujyuro gravely peered down to the ground.
Mumu?
Mumu? All he could muster was a single murmur. You could see Aoko on top of some drawing on the ground and... I'm sorry for slurring my words, guys. I'm not drunk, I'm just like getting sleepy. But I want to finish this chapter, so I'm going to keep going. There was something familiar in the direction of the ruined House of Mirrors. Soujyuro's job to throw Aoko's hair from a great height was complete. While not the most impressive of tasks, it was absolutely a matter of life or death. And to top it all off, just thinking about how he was going to get back down to the ground was making him dizzy. He'd experienced more than enough trouble for one day.
Yeah.
The egg. Oh no, he's seeing the final... I see. He was flustered as he stood atop the swaying bridge. Oh, okay, this is him seeing the first start of the... okay. A skull suddenly appeared in the sky above. On the ground, you could see a circling blue light with Aoko in the middle of it. And one more thing. From an angle that only Soujyuro could see, a shadow stalked Aoko while she challenged the moon. What the hell? There was... what? Okay, the plot just keeps getting crazier and crazier. That thing is still alive. It was shaped like a person, missing the lower half of its body. The disembodied torso slowly clawed its way toward Aoko. They were still over 600 feet apart. Unfortunately for Aoko, she completely failed to notice it approaching from behind. Oh, did Soujyuro take care of it? I'm sure of what it was now. There's only one thing in the park that would choose Aoko and not him. The puppet. You gotta climb down as fast as you can, dude. His mind ran in circles. It was a perfectly reasonable reaction. Any grip on reality he might have left was long lost when Aoko started firing beams of light at the monstrous moon. Aoko's merciless fire buffeted the roller coaster like a storm. Just standing on it was almost enough for him to be thrown off and killed. At any rate, Soujyuro couldn't fathom the situation. Should he head back to the entrance of the roller coaster and warn Aoko about the incoming threat? No, there was no way he would make it in time. And to make matters worse, there was a hoard of bread down there waiting for him. And it may very well have been the case that Aoko was already aware of the puppet and would take it out as soon as it got closer. If she was, Soujyuro was sure he would only be in the way. But it did not seem like there was anything he could do to help. And beyond that, Aoko was not the only one in danger. He was in quite a predicament himself. He can't go home again. The road home was never as safe as one thought. It was as true here as it had been in the mountains. The path he was on was no exception. As risky as the ascent had been, it was even more dangerous to go back down. This was no time to be worrying about others. The shaking legs reminded him that only 200 feet separated him from death. His head was pounding. This was reckless and stupid. Having been raised in the mountains, he was more sensitive to danger than anyone raised in the city, and just thinking about what he was about to do made his throat seize up. There's only one thing he could say for sure. Yes! Oh, I love serious Shizuki. Go save him. Go save her. Oh, the music. Oh, the music's going so hard right now. With a sobbing shout, Soujyuro started making his way down the 200-foot frame of the roller coaster. Bow, bow. Imagine running down a roller coaster. His race toward death accelerated. He never meant to speed up, but the downward slope propelled him forward exactly. You're lucky you don't trip, because your feet buckled. It was too late for regrets. Now that he was running, he had no choice but to go. This shot goes so hard! Oh my god, this shot goes so hard! And time was not on his side. He would never make it in time if he took the long way down. Never mind the breadmen guarding the exit of the roller coaster. If the exit is blocked, the outcome would be the same, whether it went slowly or quickly. There was no reason to rush to his death as desperately as he did. So what if it was futile? Soujyuro cleared the doubts from his mind. He turned his attention to what he could do. Keep his footing and try to arrive at the bottom as quickly as he could. He had no idea what impulses were driving his stiff limbs. He just focused on the moment, pushing past the fear and the cold logic. At his core, he was the kind of person to deal with problems head on. There'd be time to think about the consequences later. Oh, of course, the stupid egg. But hesitation was not his only obstacle. Worst possible hindrance appeared out of time when not focusing on the track would mean certain death. Soujyuro sensed something wrong with the egg. He had been so studiously observing out of one eye. Something had changed. The very moment he realized it. Soujyuro stumbled and instinctively caught himself. It was a miracle he had not fallen. Descending a roller coaster on foot was an act of suicide. The egg stayed right by his side, so close it was likely it would collide with him. While he was trying not to look at it, he could not help but feel uneasy that the door-like decoration in its center was gradually opening. He cursed his rotten situation, and yet he refused to slow down. He ran even faster, glaring at the egg on his side. Soujyuro was baffled to find that he was smiling. Perhaps it had something to do with Aoko's charm. Soujyuro could not tell one way or the other. He could still feel Aoko's fingers on his skin. The trust and expectation she had placed in him was etched into his heart. But what spurred on was something entirely different. That all stemmed from a much deeper problem. It was something inside him that he could not understand at the time, but would eventually come to terms with one day. Something later in the story, huh? Carefully judged the distance as he ran down the track of death. Well, the distance between what? They went that one without saying. It was the distance between himself and the one thing that could save his life. He told himself he was going to do it over and over like a mantra. Soujyuro could not believe himself. What he was about to do was incredibly stupid. But what is stupid when smart is not an option? That's a line. The voice actor is really going off here. I'm giving massive props to Shizuki's VA. Amidst it all, he laughed at how pointless such self-reflection was now. Temporary confusion, a psychological thrill ride, both had laid his soul bare. What really mattered in life? The answer to that question was simple. His primitive values did not crave success or reward. All he wanted was to live the way he wanted. It wasn't an obligation to the people around him. His desire to live his way and his alone. If the egg had been equipped with a vocal function, he would have gasped in shock at what happened next. The boy who had only tried to escape until this point suddenly shifted his weight, pointed his feet outward instead of inward. On the edge of one rail, he crouched ever so slightly to maintain momentum and gaze at the floating egg. Is he gonna jump on the egg? I thought he was gonna jump down on another set of tracks, but the egg? The titanium balls! Oh. He soared through the night sky. It was a flight that lasted a mere 1.5 seconds, a cordless bungee jump from 100 feet above ground. His destination? The only thing that would stop his fall, the giant flying egg. He shrieked, this time out of elation as he desperately clung to the egg's surface. This earlier, a cold-blooded witch had told him that without fear, the top of a building would feel no different than a balance beam. This from the same witch that would have been left speechless had she witnessed the spectacle. It was one thing to be fearless and another to be reckless. What the boy did next would give her a headache in the days to come. Clinging to the egg, he shifted his gaze away from it. Felt the rapid descent. Is he gonna push it into the automaton? Soujyuro, focusing his half-shut eyes on the ground, leaped off the egg once they were a few feet from the ground, then turned back to it, careful to reestablish eye contact. Nope. Something so unbelievable, thought to Soujyuro. The elevator at the department store and the mysterious floating egg were both just moving objects, virtually indistinguishable from one another. Oh, there's the multi-shot. He landed near the plaza. The shortcut that almost cost him his life had paid off. Soujyuro took off running the second his feet touched the ground. The puppet after Aoko was the only thing on his mind. He paid no mind to the moonlight in the sky. Oh, north of the egg, which was furious about being used, seconds away from self-destructing and blasting fragments all over the place. Aozaki! Nanu? Oh, it's at the time when Aozaki was about to be... I see. The curse was complete. The empty egg began to sing its warning to let them know there was no escape. What? Oh no, Soujyuro, please be okay. Shrapnel from the egg exploded through the air. The ode to Queen Alice that Alice had engraved to Dumpty quickly robbed him of his senses. Did he just get hit by shrapnel and said, was that it? He snapped back to the task at hand and ran to Aoko, still lying on the ground. His legs moved as if they had a mind of their own. But he couldn't have stopped them anyway, since he could no longer feel them. This is the best. Oh, that was fucking dope. The scrambled murder case. Piles of rubble became flowers of light blooming from the earth. Wow.
Oh my god, I did it!
Damn, I just turned into a demon. I did not expect those noises to come out of my mouth. Jesus, I'm so sorry. I'm just so bewildered at how peak this was. The final curtain drew close, and the defeated left the battleground. Had Alice Kunji seen it happen, she would have been beside herself. She had escaped by a hair's breadth. The only person in a position to witness that rare mutual destruction was the girl who had been saved from it. The boy who had never stopped running paid it no mind. Oh. Shizuki. Shizuki's my boy. I ship them so hard. The safety of the girl in his arms meant infinitely more to him than the miraculous way in which he saved her. The moron did not wait for dawn. The moron! I thought it was Aoko talking, so I immediately... The moon did not wait for dawn to set. The ornamental texture of the fairy tale kingdom faded away. All the illusions returned to the way they were before, from the ostentatious chords reverberating through the streets to the puppets welcoming their guests. Peace and quiet reigned once more. The forgotten kingdom, never to be awakened again. Out flickered the embers of a late-night dream, even the electric lamps that illuminated the park. Ooh. Nice. Together, they watched it disappear. Soujyuro lay on the ground, desperately gasping for air like a fish out of water. The curse of the exploding egg had numbed his pain, and he was understandably exhausted after all he'd experienced. He looked like he could be blown away by the lightest of breezes. While Aoko was also exhausted, she was still in better shape. Focused on taking deep, even breaths, she was already working to recover her strength. She addressed Soujyuro indifferently as her gaze remained on the amusement park. The abruptness of it was a bit theatrical in nature. She wanted to look at him as she spoke, but her pride was simply too great. Yeah, it was kind of amazing. The moment she'd accepted death had seemed like an eternity. She was beside herself in shock at how indifferent she had been as the shards rained down from the moon. But a reassuring voice had snapped her back into reality. Why did he do it? What was he thinking? What moronic things had he done to pull it off? She had no answers for these questions. Lying on the ground as she was, all she knew was that he had more than made up for his failure in the House of Mirrors, and then some in those fateful final moments. She addressed him, hoping to find answers, but found herself unable to probe any further. To dig any deeper would feel like defeat, which is why it was so unlike her to ask him in the first place. Lucky for her, Soujyuro had neither the capacity nor sensitivity to understand how egocentric she was being. You were... Yeah, I guess you could say we were both pretty amazing, huh? He stuttered between labored breaths. It was taking so much effort just to breathe that he could not address her properly. She watched him out of the corner of her eye. Thinking back on it, the boy had performed the same role each time. Each and every time he did what he could in spite of his feckleness. Fecklessness. It was far more admirable than her nearly suicidal tactics, even if she did defeat her opponent. Did not even recognize how extraordinary his last act of courage was. The puppet, remember when that was their goal together? At the very least, he had the courage to keep trying whatever he could. A spectator might have viewed him as a supporting actor. His actions were not exactly memorable, but the lead actress he supported did not see it that way.
まあね、認めたくないし、口になんてもっとしたくないけど。
Such inspired actions were wasted in a supporting role. This guy really pulled off the impossible. It was so amazing that she wanted to shout it as loud as she possibly could for all the world to hear.
青崎
ほんと、人畜無害って言いすぎると侮れないわ。
She top. All Aoko could do was sigh. Like, let's make babies. And Shizuki's like, how do you do that? And fucking Aozaki just has an aneurysm. Like, ah! How could she not? Even she was forced to admit that the way he'd snatched her from the child's death was dashing.
ま、評価、甘めだけど。
Truth be told, he was a lunatic for doing what he did. She steadied her breathing and composed herself. While she was in bad shape, she still had her pride as a mage to consider. That was why she felt the need to maintain an air of dignity.
しずきくん、見逃すのは今日だけって話だったけど。
Yeah, she's like,
なしでいいわ。
fuck yeah, we live in the day, boys.
とりあえず、命は助けてあげるから。
Let's go. He hastily extended her right hand. It was either to shake his or help him up. However, Soujyuro did not take her hand, but instead set up on his own this night, despite the sheer insanity that he had just experienced. His face had not once looked as incredulous as it did now.
何そのリアクションは。
She stammered, worried that she had deeply embarrassed herself. Soujyuro's gaze was fixed upon Aoko. Problem had dawned on Aoko. Though she normally hated being stared at, this time she did not mind. Rather, she was enjoying the warmth in his eyes and felt like it was something she could almost come to appreciate. Don't you get it? This isn't about... Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship, and I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say that Sonoji really... The conversation came rushing back. It was a memory better left forgotten.
いかん、それは違う。
Pushing to ignore his words out of her mind, Aoko turned to Soujyuro.
それとこれは別だから。私はあんたのこととか、ほんとどうでもいいんだから。
Tsundere. Puzzled, Soujyuro tilted his head.
さっき嫌いだって言われたけど
It's like, I already know. I was just... You responded matter-of-factly to her sudden declaration. She certainly had pointed that out, and to his face, no less. It had a mere figure of speech that he was not meant to take literally, but now was not the time to belabor the point.
そうじゃなくて、あなたが私に惚れてても期待しないでって言ってるの。
Yet Bellabor, she did it anyway. Aoko blushed slightly, realizing how inane she was being. She wondered how she ended up in this position. And yet, she knew that she had to get this off her chest. All that was left was to politely wait for his response. I can't date you. Ouch. Such heartbreakingly painful words were too much for the simple boy to hear. His shoulders slumped as if the world was coming to an end, or so Aoko had imagined. On the contrary, Soujyuro was sitting there in deep thought.
俺が青崎に惚れてるって
Soujyuro remembered the words as if they were a magic spell. She shot right back with the affirmative. After a moment of deep contemplation, the boy turned to the expectant girl and said,
なんで
It's Jover. It's Jover. The Aozushi is gone. He had to be joking, but he was not. He was completely serious. He liked her, but he didn't like her. Of course, Vice President had jumped to conclusions. This boy had no interest in romance. He probably didn't even know what that was. She was incredibly embarrassed by how confused Soujyuro still appeared to be. Her rosy complexion spread throughout her entire body.
もう一度聞くけど、なんで？
Oh.
そりゃこっちが聞きたいわよ。
Oh.
飛び丸の大バカ野郎。
Tobimaru's just gets some chills down his spine. He's like, oh, I just woke up from a deep sweat. Just like that, she had lost her cool and given into an unjustifiable outburst. It was time to seal off the area and destroy all evidence. Aoko's embarrassment devolved into sheer panic, and her grudge against Tobimaru suddenly manifested as criminal assault. She lashed out with a punch that could have taken down a bird mid-flight. More specifically, it was a brutal right hook. Aoko blinked. Her blow had connected with something solid, snapping her out of her reverie. Her temper lashed out to the completely defensive Soujyuro. It had been a splendid blow with all her weight behind it, knocking him out cold. Oh. Fuck. Ouch. Poor Soujyuro. Soujyuro groaned, crumpling to the ground. Her punch finished the job that the curse had started. If not for the discomfort on his face, he appeared to almost to be sleeping. Aoko convinced herself that he was napping, not concussed.
いっか。予定通りになったものね。
Tension in her shoulders eased away as she looked down at Soujyuro. A ton had gotten in her way over the course of today, but the day was safe for now. With nobody left to butt heads, she felt exhaustion finally overtake her.
うわ。歩いて帰れるかな、私。
Her fatigue was enough to make her complain out loud. She thought about it. She realized that this was the first time she had used up all of her magical energy. The first time she had participated in a battle of this scale without any prior preparation. Though in truth,
私一人じゃどっちも相打ちだったっけ。
she felt somewhat proud as she whispered those words. Normally it was something she would have beat herself up over, but instead, she simply shrugged her shoulders with a bitter smile. After all, it was thanks to the person sleeping by her side.
ね、聞こえてないわよね。
As if the night had swallowed her voice before it reached him, he received no response. Confident, she continued in an even quieter voice.
ありがとう。十分に助けてもらったわ。
Of course, there was no response from Soujyuro. She was not expecting one. Saying it was for the record was enough. Aoko watched Soujyuro sleep for a while, then pulled something out of her pocket. It was the palm-sized glass bottle her roommate had given her, which she opened with a pop.
でも、それとこれとは別だから。
Leaving behind words colder than a winter chill at night, she called out his name. She barely sensed the bottle moving. As the silhouette of the fallen boy appeared to blur, she got the feeling that the weight of the bottle had increased slightly.
うわ、どうなってんだろうこれ。
What appeared to be a human form could clearly be seen inside the glass. Alice Koenji's tools were mystics that confounded even the most knowledgeable of mages. As soon as Aoko tried to analyze them with logic or reason, she was already out of her depth. Knowing this all too well, Aoko closed the bottle and watched the boy disappear as if by some magic trick. She put him in a bottle.
たく、こんなの手品じゃなくて。
That's really cool. As long as it's not a jar, we're okay. She muttered as she looked into the magical bottle. Its weight had not changed significantly, and she had no idea how it worked. But the one thing she did know is there was a human being inside of it. Its light weight was almost unnerving, closer to empty air than a human being. It was about as heavy one was would expect if they bottled a summer breeze, though that did fit her image of Soujyuro perfectly.
アリスの言う通り。
She muttered to no one in particular as she recalled the past.
ほんと、私らしくない。
Aoko wore a bittersweet smile. Her usual moodiness was gone. It was a dangerous world out there. It was good to have someone to keep her on her toes. With a very wry chuckle, she flicked the magical bottle with her finger and set off walking. She could hear a bell in the distance, signaling the end of the play. An ephemeral dream gave way to reality in the grand scheme of things. It had been but an instant. As the actors exited stage left, the last of the lights silently flickered out. And so, the long-dead amusement park played its final role as a memory for a boy and a girl. Done it. Farewell, Kitsyland. Like a dog. Okay. So chapter 6 is it called Like a Dog or Tea Time? Alright. Let's go to the title screen. Take a look at our archive really quick. Look at how thick that, oh my god. Yes, but look at how much game we have left. And oh my god. The Night of Witches was fucking thick. Like, the thickest part of the game so far. It's incredible just how long it was, but it was worth it. It was so good. Like, absolutely amazing. We're almost halfway through the game though. From the looks of it, I would say chapter 6 and then 7 probably would be halfway. So I'm expecting like 14 chapters or so. So yeah, we're almost halfway there. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, we're Squidward on a chair. And yeah, it feels like we just finished Act 1, if I had to say. And yeah, for the end of Act 1, that was peak. Like, we genuinely hit peak in this session. It was amazing. I fucking loved it. It was... I love Soujyuro and Aoko so much. They're my absolute favorite. They're so good. And... whew, I'm exhausted, to be honest with you, but I absolutely enjoyed that. I really hope you did as well. This VN is something else. Whether it's the production value, the music, just the voice acting in general, or just how the development between Aoko and Shizuki's relationship has gone, where they've actually had me fall on head over heels for a tsundere character, which, honestly, it's been a very long time since I've really, really loved a tsundere character. Like, not many off of the top of my head come to mind that are just, like, top tier absolute favorites. Obviously, I love Rin as a character, but she's not, like, my favorite or, like, waifu material for me. But Aoko is. I don't know, you can call me like a hypocrite or whatever, but Aoko just hits the spot for me. Like, Taiga was that for me, like, back in the day. She was, like, one of the first tsunderes I ever saw. Man, this is great. Shizuki is just a wholly unique type of protagonist that still fits the mold, but is just... it's just so entertaining and so much fun, but so... wholly... adjacent yet so far apart from Aoko that it really makes this VN feel special, and I'm really enjoying it. The fight scenes in this VN are brilliant, just from how they differ from Stay Night, but how much they still add spectacle without being so flashy and just for the sake of it. Like, I could not see this being a movie. I mean, I'm sure it could be a movie, but I would much rather this be like an anime if they were gonna do it that way, because like, I know this is short, but like maybe like a 13 episode anime with like each episode being like, I don't even know. I just think even the VN format is just perfect for Witch on the Holy Night for what it's trying to do. Like, it's so good. I love it. Regardless, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. If you have, I just wanted to tell you thank you. It means a lot to me, and you're helping the channel out a great deal by doing so. I wanted you to know that whether it's morning, day, evening, or night, or wherever it is that you are, please be sure to stay safe and take care out there. And if you haven't already, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. What Tsukihime you want me to play, what other thoughts you have on Witch on the Holy Night, any other questions you have, and stuff like that. Subscribe if you haven't, so you can keep up to date with more Witch on the Holy Night, some more Fate Hall Ataraxia and Tsukihime when that comes, and also just have a good one. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next Witch on the Holy Night for Chapter 6. See ya.